Coach Deborah has a passion and purpose to assist young men, ages 15 to 24, to overcome obstacles and build their best lives. She wants to see every young man live out their potential. She has a master's degree in human services counseling, with a major in life coaching. More importantly, she is the mother of 3 boys, who are exceptional, educated, professional men. Coach Deborah believes it is better to train early, rather than need to fix later. She utilizes basic principles and God-led concepts. Sometimes the only thing a young man has is their credibility or their name. The actions they take are based on the decisions they make. Those decisions align with their choices and result in consequences. Coach Deborah can assist you if you are lost, floundering, or confused. Embrace the help and start building your best life today.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Real Talk with Deborah and Anastasia. We are excited to be here again on a bright Saturday morning. Hello, Anastasia.
Good morning, Miss Deborah. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. Up a bit early, out a little bit early, but it's a great day.
Yes, most definitely.
Mhm.
Well, thank everyone for tuning in. Make sure that you share, comment, and like. This morning, Anastasia and our topic is heed ugly growth spurts. Heed
Mhm.
growth spurts. I guess you say, what is that all about? Well, we're going to tell you. But usually when young men act out or exhibit different personality characteristics, people quickly say, oh, don't worry about it. Those are just growing pains. Well, these individuals may be right. However, often it is found that other things are going on that are causing the unusual behaviors. We know that children have different stages of life, and with each of those stages brings different characteristics that are normal. As preteens and teens grow, they exhibit behavior mothers sometimes aren't accustomed to, and it's like, is this my child? It is essential to differentiate between normal growth behavior and unsavory behavior, to ensure that you can get assistance for your child if something is going on that is not normal. If there are things that you can't handle, then you can get a mentor, a therapist, or whatever people that you need to assist you as you walk through these growth spurts.
You are so right, Miss Deborah. I know that with my kids, I honestly truly did wonder if they were the same kids that I was raising, because they turned into these moody little creatures, especially my daughter turned into this moody little creature. And then all of a sudden, they used to want to be all over you, and now they just want to stay games all the time. They used to want to be able to hang out with you and go wherever you go. And as soon as you're headed to the door, they running to get their shoes along with you because you can't leave them behind anywhere. Then it turns into, you know what? Go, bye. Okay, I want some alone time anyway. So the change in behavior, it can be a bit daunting sometimes. It can come seemingly suddenly, but it's normal. A lot of it is normal. Now, what we do want to do today is make sure that we are distinguishing between what would be considered normal teenage behavior, what can be expected from your child at anywhere between, I'd say, 11, 12 to 13, when they really truly are teens, and that preteen adolescent era. Some kids go through it earlier, some kids go through it later. But anywhere in between there is usually when these type of things hit. And it's not every single child, but It is extremely common and it is extremely normal for kids to go through these sudden or seemingly sudden changes as they get older. So, the first thing that you may want to ask yourself is my teenager's behavior normal? And if you're asking yourself that question, trust me, you are not alone. Parents can have difficulty understanding how their lovable little girl or boy has become so intolerable. It is normal for teenagers to be moody because of the hormone changes they go through.
Right.
The changes happen to the neural pathways in their brain and the ongoing growth of their body. While many teens appear to be of the same size as adults, they do not have the same lung capacity as we do. And so this adds to the changes their bodies are going through, their brain is going through, and it's making them feel tired a lot easier. Your teenager may need several reminders to finish their homework, to keep their room clean, or even to finish simple chores. They may seem defiant and distant, and even detached at times. But that is typical teen behavior. It may seem abnormal to adults, and it may be difficult to differentiate between normal teenage behavior and behaviors associated with mental illness. But there are 10 common behavior problems that teenagers will go through. Miss Deborah?
Thank you. Yes, I'm going to talk about 10 common behaviors that teens tend to have problems with. And so some of these may get those mothers like excited, nervous, or what have you. But I'm going to go through these 10. But teenagers may engage in harmful behaviors such as substance abuse, unsafe sexual practices, and excessive technology use. And we look at that and we say, well, all of them do that. Well, a lot of them do it. However, is it normal or is it safe? So the first one I want to talk about is being honest. As children get into different phases, they may begin to tell lies and they think, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. But as some of them will tell these untruths, they may be trying to get attention. If I say this and it doesn't sound right, am I going to get attention? Is that parent giving that child the attention that they need? Are they seeking attention from someone else? And as time goes on, it gets so much easier to tell those lies. It's just like normal everyday talking. They just spill out of their mouths and you say, is that true? Oh, yes, no doubt. So that is one of the things that you want to look at because it is a common behavioral problem with our teens. The second one is being awkward. So if you think about it, as children grow, the girls within the same age, the girls may grow during these couple years and the boys are stagnant, and then the boys will have a growth spurt. So sometimes, it's like, oh, my sister and I were twins, but she's taller than I am. So then they feel a bit awkward. What's wrong with me? Because they're not understanding that this is normal. So to them is something's wrong with me. Then they begin to act awkward around their friends. Of course, with our males at certain ages, that voice begins to change. So it may get squeak, they may be talking, all of a sudden it goes to a different range. And then that kind of makes them feel awkward because, of course, their peers are going to tease them, even though some of them are going through the same things. Your peers always tend to do what? And make you feel most uncomfortable. Then, as they transition maybe from elementary school or grade school to middle school, and from middle school to high school, their friends may change. There may be someone that is not able to make friends easily. So then that becomes another awkward situation in their lives. So they may act out during this time because they're feeling awkward. The third one is abandoned situations. And I don't mean that they're getting abandoned, but no commitment, in other words. So, I want to play the drums, and you sure you want to play the drums? And yes, 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 yes. And you invest money in lessons or the equipment. They may hold on to it for a couple months, 6 months, and then all of a sudden you don't hear these drums any longer. And it's different situations like that. Oh, I want to be a part of this organization. I want to be a part of that organization. Only to get in there, you invest the time, excuse me, in getting them established, whatever. They get in there, they may get a position, and then they begin to say, well, I don't want to go. So they have those type of behaviors going on. The fourth one is being impulsive. They don't think. They don't stop to think. It's very important that we stop, think, and then act. But they think they're invincible. They can do anything, so they don't think. They act first and then suffer the consequences. That's another one. The fifth one is attitude issues. And, Anastasia mentioned that. We know about the attitudes. They begin to sass. They don't care what age. The parents, other adults, they want to sass. Some of them even go into having tantrums like they did when they were toddlers. Like, what in the world? They stomp off, go in their room, slam the doors. But that's a phase that they're going through, those common behaviors. And then they may also tend to get selfish during that time. The sixth one is not adhering to rules. They could have had rules their entire lives. We don't do this before breakfast. We don't do this after dinner. But all of a sudden, they want to rule everything. So they know their curfew. You have to be in the house at 6 o'clock on a school night, 8 o'clock on weekends. All of a sudden, they want to come in and out when they are ready. When you say something to them, they go back to that sass or that tantrum. But they want to break rules because they want to make their own. They don't keep their words. Okay, yes, Mom, if you allow me to do this, I'll do that. I'm going to clean up my room. They don't do it. You may find out, and you may not find out. It might be like I was. I didn't find out till like 10, 15 years down the road. My son would sneak out. Yeah, Mom, I'll wait till you go to sleep, and our house set kind of up. So he said, I wait till you go to sleep, and I put the car in neutral and let it roll down the driveway, and then I take off. I'm like, oh my goodness. But anyway, they do things like that. The seventh one, academics. Those grades. Is that child an A student, a C student, or an E student? A lot of times they are A students, but their peers may begin to say, oh, it's not cool to be smart. So they tend to stop doing their very, very best, or they don't want to study any longer. It may be that the only way that you can get them to live out their potential as far as their grades are is to remind them, well, you want to be on the basketball team, you want to be on the track team, well, you have to maintain a certain grade point average. Then they may work on their grades a little bit more. But they tend to either suffer because, of course, the curriculum is a little bit harder, but then they have a lot of other things going on, the peer pressure, the hormones changing, and all of that. So sometimes there is issues with the academics. The eighth one, being defiant. They want to be self-reliant and self-disciplined, and you want that for them, but that does not mean that you now are an adult and you do what you want to do. So that's like a thin line. So yes, become more self-disciplined, but you still have rules. You can't be defiant. But that is one that they love to do because they think that they can call the shots. The ninth one is mouth issues. And again, that's the talking back to adults, talking back to anyone in authority. And this one, they have to have the last word. Even if they're walking away or going to another room and they think you can't hear, they're gonna have the last word. That's just a thing with them. And I call that a mouth issue. And the last one I want to mention is withdrawal. A behavior issue that it really, really bothers a lot of parents is that withdrawal, because now I'm more self-disciplined. I can make my own decisions. I'm starting to drive, so I can withdraw from my parents because I can get that pat on the back from my peers. So I think my peers are smarter than my parents. So I want to hang with them. So I want to start doing less things with my parents and adults and do my own thing. So these are some of the common behavior issues that our teens and preteens have. So keep those in mind as Anastasia goes on to tell you a little bit more about another phase that we want to talk about today.
Yes, I am, Miss Deborah. So we're going to look at typical teenage girl behaviors first. So, in addition to the behaviors that Miss Deborah mentioned, teenage girls are exposed to a number of stress factors that put them at risk for developing eating disorders, anxiety problems, and substance abuse. Eating disorders such as bulimia and anorexia, they may be hard to detect at first, but usually there's children that will have that, that little baby weight on them. And then all of a sudden, you see that weight drops drastically. When you're sitting at the dinner table, they don't want to eat anymore. Or they're just picking around and only eating a few things off the plate just so that you won't nag them about it. Let's pay attention to those type of things. The opposite end of that would be when the child may have been smaller or at a healthy weight, and all of a sudden they've ballooned, literally ballooned into this heavier, heftier child. And you're trying to figure, why is this happening all of a sudden? They may be seeking comfort in food. And so the same way that Miss Deborah's car was being taken in the middle of the night, they may be going into the refrigerator in the middle of the night and just eating. There is an endorphin release when your stomach is full, and that may be a motivator for when it is that they eat, and they feel happy when they're full. And so, in order to hold on to that happy feeling or to continuously get that happy feeling, they're choosing to eat whenever they are stressed or whenever they are depressed or whenever any anxiety is beginning to build up in them. They choose to eat so that they can get that little rush of pleasure, that little rush of happiness. And substance abuse. Substance abuse would usually be thought of as alcohol, but there's more to it than just alcohol. There are things like internet and cell phone abuse, that's screen time. You are able to abuse your screen time when you are so busy looking into the lives of other people. And we all know that this Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all of the others, they are only a portrayal of a person's life. They're only a little snippet and a little picture or a quick little video of what it is that person wants for the world to see. It's not what their actual life is. But a lot of times, teenagers can get caught up in deciphering between what is real life and what is just imagination or portrayal. And so when you see that they're walking through the hallways and their head is down on the phone, they go into the bathroom, they have to take the phone behind them. You go into their room to say goodnight and light is off, TV is off, but that little screen has the light glowing into their face. They woke up in the morning, and before they went to the bathroom, they picked up the phone to see what was going on and what they may have missed while they were sleeping and things like that. That is also another addiction. It is another form of abuse. You can abuse your devices. And so with teenage girls, they are vulnerable emotionally and physically and can be influenced by the internal stressors like their hormone changes and the external stressors like peer pressure and academic pressure. Usually girls are smarter. I tried to find another word. I did. I tried to find another word. But girls are usually smarter. We are. It is said that, we mature 2 years faster than boys. And so that may be a little contributor. We're not knocking guys. Yeah, you guys are smart too. But, you know, it is said that girls mature 2 years quicker than boys. And so it would be more normal for girls to settle into their schoolwork more, to be able to focus more, and to be able to focus earlier. Whereas a boy would do it at 15, a girl would do it at 13, that type of thing. And so academic pressure is really there. Peer pressure is there. The changes of a girl are more present physically. Our top half changes, our figure changes. Sometimes even, with hair growth and things like that, you're paying more attention to how you fix your hair. You are looking at makeup. You're looking at the different fashion that you can put on this new body that you are gaining, all of these things. And peer pressure plays a big part in all of those decisions. And so it is a lot of things that females have to go through that influence their behavior. So understanding that it is as difficult for your daughter to be a teen as it is for you to be the adult of a teen is an important factor. So now let's look at boys. So boys tend to repress their feelings and not talk about them. Again, boys tend to repress their feelings and not talk about them. In fact, a lot of teenage boys look at discussing their emotions as a sign of weakness. This is something that we have to first acknowledge, second, understand, and then thirdly, work against. Even though being emotional is typically considered a girl thing, we need to get our boys to understand that it is a human thing, that it is okay for you to be able to express yourself, especially to your parents. That should be a safe space. It should be okay for them to be able to come to you with anything. And that is the relationship that you want to foster. It is the relationship that you want to encourage, letting them know that no matter what the topic is, no matter what they need to talk about, they're able to come to you. And so we need to make sure that we are making it a safe space for our boys to come to us, that we're not making fun of them when they say that, oh, I almost cried today because this girl told me something. What? You almost cried? What you? No, that's not the response that they were looking for. When they come to you with something, they're looking to be supported. They're not looking to be made fun of. They're not looking for it to become the topic of the next conversation that you're having with your sisters and the next family function and all the rest of that. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for you to be supportive of whatever it is that they're going through, to try your very best to understand what it is that they're going through, and to make sure that they can feel safe enough when talking to you that they'll come back to you again. So teen boys tend to start drugs and drinking earlier than girls, which is why parents need to be extra careful. Recklessness is yet another trait that teenage boys have, which draws them to speeding and indulging in risky activities. So let's go back to this drinking and drugs. We don't want to think about it. We don't like to hear it, but it is proven. They do get into their exposure to alcohol comes sooner in boys than it does in girls. It may be a part of that girls maturing faster also. So we may females may be making the decision, being more conscious about not being under the influence, whereas boys are trying to fit in. Most of the boys around them, this is what they're doing. The male figures in their life, especially considering the environment that they're growing up in, this is what they're doing. A lot of the media, this is what they're showing them. And so they believe that it is okay. This is what guys are supposed to do. Guys are supposed to hang around each other and be drinking and, doing all of this other stuff. They found it to be normal behavior or typical behavior because it's what they're exposed to. It's not so greatly exposed to females. After the drinking and drugs, then there's that reckless behavior, the speeding, the fast and furious behaviors. Boys are typically more risk-taking naturally, even when they were younger. Don't you remember when your little boy climbed up on top of the slide and jumped off instead of sliding down? You don't remember when every time they were in the house and they reached to the second or the third step, and instead of just stepping down like how they should, they're going to jump off of the steps so that they could get down? That risk-taking behavior is a typical thought process or behavior process for boys, but it elevates and it's exaggerated when they become teenagers. And so we need to acknowledge it, try to understand it, and like I said, develop an action plan for it, because these things are a part of their typical teenage behavior. Miss Deborah, I'm sure that you have a story or two, considering you've got 3 boys, don't you?
Most definitely, most definitely. Yes, they will keep you on their toes, I tell you. Well, thank you for those tidbits that you gave us. You gave us a lot to chew on and think about. So parents need to remain engaged and keep those things to the forefront. So when you begin to see various behaviors, you are aware. Oh, yeah, I remember they talked about that. And so you know if it's something that's normal and it's okay and it's going to pass, or if it's something that you really need to engage and look into. Well, I'm going to give you some key takeaways from today. So I hope that you have been taking notes. If not, you can always go back and look at the rewind of this. Please make sure that you pass it on to others. But teenagers may engage in harmful behaviors due to peer pressure, lack of self-esteem, or because they have a lack of confidence. And some of those things that we have mentioned today that they can steer into is that substance abuse, alcohol, smoking. We didn't mention, and smoking is, when they vape, they smoke other things. All those we have found have long-term um, issues that come up based on that. You got lung cancer, you have even secondhand smoke is not good for you. It impacts your memory, your learning, so things like that. So it's not just something you do, you have fun. You may have to deal with it down the road. Unsafe sexual practices, and a lot of times people don't want to talk about this, but hey, it's not fun, or it may be fun to go out there and say, I accomplished this, I got this many notches in my belt, or I broke her down, blah, 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 blah. You better remember having those safe practices, because if you don't have safe practices, Again, you may get something that's going to impact your life down the road. You may have children, and those children, you're responsible for them, and you're responsible for them before they get here and for the rest of their lives. So it's not just the instantaneous fun thing that's happening. Anastasia talked about the technology and having those lights, and that's not good. Excessive technology use and being on that social media, because social media, if used for what it was intended to, can be great. However, people tend to use it for a lot of negative information, passing on negative taunts and bullying people and talking about things they shouldn't be talking about, putting their business out on blast. And then when somebody comes back with it, you want to fight. So it can be of the devil. But you want to address behavior challenges by taking the time to listen and observe your child. You can't just have those conversations like y'all passing by. Good morning. Hey, how you doing? How was yesterday? Oh, it wasn't so good, but what happened? Blah, blah, blah. But you're not really paying attention because you're trying to get ready to get out the door. Take the time to stop and listen to what they're saying, the expression on their faces, and knowing your child, what is it that their face is saying that they're not saying. Teenage girls are susceptible to stress and have an increased likelihood of encountering eating disorders, as Anastasia told us, but also anxiety disorders and substance abuse. Teenage boys are more likely to suppress their feelings. I know you heard that before. Anastasia told you that. And when they suppress those feelings, they're keeping it inside. So what do? They begin to use drugs. They're drinking excessively early in life. And they get those reckless personalities. I'm going to get on this, what is it, ATV, never rode on one, but I'm just going to go out there, not understanding how dangerous those vehicles can be. You're just learning how to drive. You're not an experienced driver, but you want to go out there and speed. You get into accidents because you are not familiar with a lot of maneuvers. So to manage teenage behavior, you want to help your teen build their self-confidence. It is a wonderful thing to have self-confidence. I'm not saying having that big ego, but having self-confidence. I know who I am. I know what my purpose is. I know what I can do. But to help them to build that up. Teach them the critical nature of selecting the company they keep. Your associates can help. Your associates can help you as well. They can get you into trouble because, like the old saying, throw the rock and hide your hands. Sometimes you're with a group of people, the person that does something, they run, you get caught, and then their story changes. It wasn't them that did it. It really was you. So you have to be careful of those people that you keep around you. Listen to your parents. And parents, listen to your kids. Teach your kids how to love and respect themselves. It's very essential for them to love themselves first and foremost. And let them know you're there, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what's going on. You are there. You have their backs. You love them, and it's going to be okay.
That is definitely the most important thing, letting them know, making sure that they understand that it's going to be okay. Most times things done in teenage life will not affect you throughout the rest of your life. You can make a little dumb decision here, a little dumb decision there, and whatever else, but prayerfully, it would not be something that affects them throughout the remainder of their lives. And so with the information that we gave today, I'm sure that you have a lot to chew on. You have a lot to think about, a lot to consider. If it is not your own child that you are watching, you're going to be watching your niece, your nephew. You're going to be watching your grandbaby. You're going to be watching one of the kids in church, whomever it is that you are paying attention to now based on the information that we given. Thank you so much for doing that. And we are so happy to be able to give this information to you, share this information with you so that you will have some more tips and information on what it is that you're looking for and how to handle these situations going forward. Another resource is momjunction.com. There's an article there called 10 Normal Teenage Behaviors. You can check that out, and it's very helpful. It'll be able to help you get through these things. And then also like, share, reshare, rewatch, then share it again so that somebody else can watch it. This video. Let's make sure that it gets to and it gets in the hands of and the view of the ear of whoever it is that really needs it.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you so much, Anastasia. I think that this was some very valuable information. So I hope that it will get shared and more people will watch it on the rewind, because this is something that needs to be viewed as well as shared. So thank you so much for your input today. Please join us on Tuesday, February 27th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Blueprint for Success. Our guest is going to be Brady Robinson, and our topic is financial woes can break your heart. You know, February is that love month, and people always associate that with romantic relationships or whatever. When somebody breaks up or whatever, you see the sad look, oh, their heart is hurting, whatever. But different things in your life can impact your heart as well. So we're going to be talking about financial woes can break your heart. So you need to tune in at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this coming Tuesday. So again, we thank you for your support, your prayers, everything that you do to assist us here at Build Your Best Life. You know, we're all about encouraging our mothers with sons and our young men. So we want this information to get out everywhere. So please help us with that. Anastasia, do you have anything else before we close out?
No, not really. Just want everybody to enjoy their Saturday. Make sure that you put God first and everything else will fall in line after.
Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. So yes, thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Remember, this year we are speaking Jeremiah 29:11 over your lives. God has plans for you, and he wants you to have what? Prosperity. And he wants you to have the future that you hope for. So please take the time to create your blueprint for success based upon the plan that God has for you. Follow that blueprint and build your best life. And remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan. It's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed. Stay safe. Thank you and love you, Anastasia. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.